Good morning, parents. This is going to be my next video on how to teach math. The last couple weeks we've been working on subtraction, mainly subtraction with regrouping, and it's actually been going really well. They had a little bit of an introduction to this in second grade. So today I just wanted to show you what we've been working on. Today we've been working on subtracting with zeros in them, and that can pose a lot of problems for kids. So I just wanted to show you how I teach subtraction with zeros in them. So if I have a number like 903 minus 274, what I've taught the kids is we always start in the ones place and we can't do 3 minus 4, but I can't borrow from that 0 because there's nothing there. So what I have to do is I have to go all the way to the hundreds place. I take 1 away from there. That becomes an 8. This becomes a 10. Now I can borrow from here because there's 10 there. So I can take 1 away from the 10, that will become a 9, and this will become a 13. And we've also done subtraction with hands-on, so they can actually physically see me taking one tens block and breaking it down into 10 ones. So then all I do is I simply do my subtraction. 13 minus 4 is 9, 9 minus 7 is 2, 8 minus 2 is 6. I've also taught them how to check their answer, where they take these two numbers, the bottom number and the answer, and they add them together. So I get 274 plus 629. I add them together. 13, carry the 1, 7, 8, 9, 10. Carry the 1, 6 plus 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. We circle our answer. Does it match up with this? Yes, it does, so we know we got the problem right. So that's just one way that I kind of teach subtraction. I don't use this very often, so I'm going to open up a new one. No, I don't want to save it. So today we've been working on subtraction with zeros in them and numbers with like 2 zeros in them. So for example, maybe my number is 800. And I'm going to take away 174. Now this can be a huge problem for kids because of the zeros in there. It really confuses them. So I'm going to show you the traditional way, the way that we learned, and then prepare to have your minds blown because I have a shortcut that kids can use that makes it much easier for them to subtract. So the traditional way we do it, I look at 0. I can't take away 4 from it, but I can't borrow from the tens place because there's nothing there. So I go over to the hundreds place, take 1 away, that becomes a 7, and this becomes a 10. Now I can borrow from this, so I take 1 away from the 10, that becomes a 9, this becomes a 10. 10 minus 4 is 6, 9 minus 7 is 2, 7 minus 1 is 6. So now this is the new and improved way to do this, which makes it much easier for kids. When I'm looking at my beginning number 800, I can also write it as 799 plus 1. And I just kind of put the plus 1 over here because I'm going to worry about this later. So now I still subtract 174. I'm not changing the problem around at all. And that's the hardest thing to get the kids to understand is I'm not changing the number 800. I'm just changing it to 799 plus 1, which still equals 800. So what I do is now, if you look at, I do not have to regroup at all. So what I do is I just subtract. 9 minus 4 is 5, 9 minus 7 is 2, 7 minus 1 is 6. Now I can't forget about this plus 1, otherwise I've changed the whole problem around. My problem isn't 799 minus 174, it's 800 minus 174. So all I basically do is I add this 1 in at the bottom. So some kids, you can either do plus 1, so my answer is 626, or some kids like to just erase this from their answer, add the 1 on there, and then my answer is 626. So as you can see, I get the same answer both ways. This way is just much easier to do because there's no regrouping at all, as long as the kids remember to add in their 1 at the end. So I hope your mind was blown as much as mine was when I discovered this. I just think it's much easier for kids. The one last thing I wanted to show you for maybe some of your kids, if your kid really understands subtraction and this isn't a problem for them for regrouping. What I had one kid do last year, which was really cool, was let's say my number was like 403 minus 147. What they did is they used I call it the magic trick for the kids, basically just the strategy that I just showed you. So some kids will look at this and say, okay, another way, so I don't have to regroup, another way I can write 403 is to go 399 plus 4, which I thought that was good of them to think that far, kind of to think that far ahead. So 399, I still subtract my 147, and I get 252, and then I just have to remember to add that 4 on at the end. We can't forget about that. So I just erase that, and I add 4 on to that 2 that was already there, and so my answer is 256. So kind of a neat way for kids to kind of think outside the box, and I was really proud of one of my students last year for showing me that he did 399 plus 4. So again, sorry for the lengthy video. I hope that makes sense to you. If you have any questions about subtracting, let me know. I look forward to seeing everybody at conferences, and then we will move on to multiplication. So thanks. Have a good day.